Sup, Brian? Sup?
Hey,
How's it going, man?
are we doing cool voices for this one?
No,
Oh,
I think we're just being
should
dumb
we?
as
Should we?
usual. What kind of
Should.
voice would you like to use right now, Brian Wickman, writer of Grit from Scout Comics, smash hit comics sold out
That's.
all over the world?
I regret suggesting the voices.
No, you got to come up with one
No,
now.
now you have to do one.
Come on, give us something.
Fuck.
Give us something.
Hey, Alex.
You're going with the Foz. All right. The Foz, that's a good starting point.
I mean, it's
But it's going to be a challenge to start every statement with a, because where do you go from there, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't have a lot of options. I've really wrote myself into a corner on this one.
But the thing is, you're a writer, so you should be able to fix that. Maybe get your editor
You
on
say
the
that.
maybe get your editor on the horn. They could come up with some stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I regret everything about that choice.
I mean, you should
now,
just went with
so.
you should have went with like some like '80s wrestler. You'd have been great.
That'd have been good. Maybe like maybe Kevin Costner-esque Robin Hood, where there's not really much of an accent. You can just throw in like a every now and then and try to just skate on.
I think Will Scarlet's accent was actually worse in Prince of Thieves.
Well, the thing is, Kevin Costner just gave up on his accent halfway through the movie.
He tried and then he stopped.
He was just like, I'm good.
He's like,
So-
No, like I did with the font.
Exactly. Hey.
Brian Wickman, the Kevin Costner of comics.
Say what you will, though, but Costner was the hottest guy in the whole wide world, much like Brian Wickman is now. I mean, Kevin Costner did what? JFK. He did Prince of Thieves. He did Dances with Wolves. He did the baseball,
Waterworld.
Field of Dreams, Waterworld. Waterworld. Hey, say
I
what you.
like Waterworld. I know.
Waterworld is a
We've had
damn
this
good
conversation.
movie.
We've had this conversation. We both like Waterworld.
What's the one? No Way Out. The No Way Out
Postman?
was really good. The Postman's kind of later, kind of like.
What about the movie he did with Clint Eastwood? What's that movie called?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a great one. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. One of my favorite Eastwood movies because he directed that.
What's the name of that? Perfect something or other. But anyway, let's talk
In
about
a perfect world.
Well,
that's what-
I think that's a fitting kind of lead into Grit, right? Because a perfect world takes place like in a small southern town. Your boy is like a prisoner, if you will. He's on the run from Johnny Law, but your book isn't like that at all. But it does kind of, it's like a Deep South kind of vibe. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's an accurate portrayal. Yeah, it's if Middle Earth had an Alabama.
You mean it doesn't?
It might.
I thought that was Rohan. There's a reason why those guys are always drunk and riding horses.
Kind of, yeah. Actually, you've got a point.
So was that your pitch to Scout Comics? If Middle Earth had an Alabama, like
That's
is
a
that
great
because
pitch.
it's a? I mean, I would
I like
automatically assume it's a comedy, so it would be kind of hard to pull out of that. But like, that's a really good way to go with that.
I think I sold them on the alliteration of Southern Fried Sword and Sorcery, and they were like, "That's fine. It looks good on a."
That's
also,
fine.
That's also a good pitch.
That's fine. So yeah, dude. So you've got a hot book. You got a hot book that Grit is moving like hotcakes, my man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. The world's on fire, so I wasn't sure how it was going to go, and
Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for it to go better at this point. So hell yeah.
That's awesome. So you can pick Grit up now, I guess, at local comic shops. How many reprints are you at that thing? Like 30 or something?
Not quite. Issues 1 and 2 both have second printings.
Damn!
I want to say issue 3 might be gone. I don't know. I mean, Scout still has some. You can still get all of them from Scout, whether or not it's the first printing. But yeah, it might be tough to find in shops, but Scout's got them.
ScoutComics.com. You can check that out. What's your experience been like working with Scout? Because we always get the question, like, how do you guys like it over there?
You guys like Scout, yeah.
And the thing is, I think a lot of professionals and like people looking to break in are kind of shocked when we're like, dude, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I work with David and Charlie primarily, and the James, Jim, Brendan occasionally, but they kind of let. I mean, I'm sure y'all have had the same experience where you sort of run the book the way you want to run the book, and as long as you make something that looks pretty in the end. Scout seems pretty on board with it, which has been cool. I've felt very good like asking them questions when I need to and bouncing shit off of them in terms of like structure. Like the book was structured a little differently originally, and they gave me a little direction on that.
What?
Yeah.
Dang, that's cool.
But just in terms of, I had some weird anthology style stuff thrown in, and we reworked the way that we're releasing that.
That's cool.
But, yeah.
What are you gonna do? Like a one shot with that after the first volume come out, or what?
I think
what are
I
you
saw
thinking?
something about this on Facebook. There, you have another like it's like a branch from the root from the grit tree.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So
Very
what we
colloquial.
Yeah. What we wound up doing.
I'm a writer of Rohan in my spare time. Alabama's my second home, baby.
There you go.
Beautiful Bobby Eaton's my favorite wrestler. This Alabama waterfall didn't come from nowhere, baby.
That's right, Jack.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. So we've got 3 shorts that'll be in the trade that didn't go anywhere else. One of them we hosted on Multiversity at some point, and that introduced a character that we're going to focus on in the second arc. So we're not just doing like a straight continuation. It's going to branch into 2 one-shots and then a 2-part mini after that.
That's awesome.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Look at you go. That's pretty
I think
impressive.
that has to do with Brian's day job. Brian, you're a librarian, right?
I am a library manager. Yeah,
You're a sexy librarian.
that's me.
He is. He is the sexiest of
Now,
librarians.
how does that work? Like, do you get tired of people like coming on to you with their fetishes all the time and like, hey, will you stamp my book real hard and like push your boobs together? Like, does that get frustrating after a while? They're like, dude, I just want to help literacy, man. Like, I'm just
tough.
here to show hobos how to use the internet. Like,
Yeah.
please stop sexualizing me. Like, is that frustrating after a while?
You know, the appeal of that wore off pretty quickly. The first couple times it was amusing, but it's all downhill from there.
Okay,
Because
all
at a certain point, I want to educate my community, and I just don't want to be, ogled all day.
It's got to be hard though, because I mean, no, I don't want to continue the ogling, but I mean,
You are a handsome man.
You
Yeah.
got that beard, you got that beanie thing going on, like.
That's tis
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that cold. I don't know where you are. I'm
I'm in
not.
Baltimore.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like fall. Normal
That's cool.
fall.
Yeah, I'm in Cincinnati, and it's kind of fall-y here. Like I can get away wearing a sweatshirt,
So in Baltimore, though, the thing is, it's fall, but it's still humid somehow.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's the East Coast. Like
Yeah.
that's the life. Now, when you say Baltimore, do you mean like The Wire, Baltimore, or do you mean like the suburbs, Baltimore?
I not the Wire, Baltimore, but also not the suburbs.
Okay.
I am in Baltimore City, but on the other side from the Wire.
Because
From Wire,
Baltimore is a beautiful town.
It is. I love it here.
Now, how long have you been in Baltimore?
Born and raised.
Nice. All right. So are you an Orioles fan?
I don't give a shit about baseball.
Wow,
I'm so
that's
sorry.
so weird. You would think that being in Baltimore, and I imagine you're like, what, 35,
You're
36?
so wrong.
How old are you?
I am 30.
Okay, the beard. The beard ages you, friend. You got to shave that so we can see that young face.
He
Is it
says
because
it to me too. Like,
Well,
so
your
don't, like,
beard is gray, so of course it's going to age you. And I know.
my beard is gray because I fight extra dimensional entities that turns your beard gray. You've never
And
seen
I-
like Doctor Strange? Yeah.
And I know how old you are because you're a year and a day older than I am, which is weird.
which
but
is
that's neat. We're not fishing for birthday cards. What I'm saying is,
We are actually.
what I'm saying,
well, now I know when to send them.
But no, because you don't. But you would know to send them a day apart, but not what month nor anything else. Now, what I'm saying to you is I'm surprised because you're 30. You would think that you would have fallen into the baseball trap because that was Cal Ripken's like his time.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean,
He was
I
busy in the
remember.
library reading books and fighting evil.
But I mean, you can read books about Cal Ripken.
That's so
I mean,
true.
I mean,
I could. Yeah, it's weird because my girlfriend's very into baseball, and I just don't care.
Wow, that's
Ryan,
awesome.
I'm with you 100%. So like, don't let him. Don't
I have
let
nothing
him,
against it.
No,
I'm just,
I
like,
mean,
not. you
yeah,
know.
that's fine. I mean, I
I'll
don't.
go. I'll go to a game in any year but 2020.
Of course, because there are no so you can't because you can't go. That's all. So like, is your lady friend, is she an Oriole fan?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I've always said this about the Baltimore Orioles. I'm a New York Mets fan. That doesn't mean anything to you because you don't follow the sport. But if the New York Mets didn't exist, I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, I think I would be an Orioles fan because of the proximity to my hometown, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And you guys, well, not you guys because you don't care, but your girlfriend, her team, they have great jerseys. Like the white and the black and the orange color combination. Trey sweet.
They're very Halloween-y.
And if you like Halloween, yeah.
Here's the weird thing about like going through Baltimore and like shops that sell sports stuff though, is because we also have the Ravens.
Yeah,
so
not
these
a fan.
shops, they're painted this terrible combination of like bright orange and bright purple. And they're just the most disgusting looking buildings you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and
it's like
then-
Metamorpho from DC opened a shop because orange and purple, like so. Okay,
It's terrible.
But Baltimore is a great town.
I
love Baltimore.
I love Baltimore.
Baltimore Comic Con is a wonderful event. Have you exhibited at the Baltimore Comic Con?
I have not exhibited, but I have frequented.
Nice, nice.
He does
Now,
partake of that.
I do partake.
When's the last year you went to Baltimore Comic Con? Did you see anything cool? Tell me something you saw cool.
Let's see. I guess last year.
I was there last year.
Yeah, Kevin, I actually think I met you in passing last year.
Did we?
Because I was hanging out with Alley Cat and
I do know Allie.
yeah, I think we met in passing very briefly.
Because I was with James and Jim at the Scout booth for a little while, and then I was talking to Chris.
Yep.
Bari, because we were doing the story that just came out. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm reading like misconnections back in the day.
I mean, it is. It's totally a misconnection.
Hey, I saw you at Baltimore Comic Con. You were a bearded guy with glasses. there were thousands upon thousands of you.
So were you.
It's the message I put to Chris DeBari in there. That's what it is, because everybody says we look alike, so that's what it was.
I could see that.
We get it a lot.
So let's focus back on grit here. Okay,
let's
get back.
My bad.
No, it's my fault too. I mean, you're fine. If anybody should be getting us back on track, it should be Brian. I mean, it's his fucking book.
If you don't keep us on track, Brian, we will just run wild with it. We will run roughshod over the good name of Brian Wickman.
So
it's your show.
No, it's not. It's your show, Brian.
It's your show.
It's your show.
Yes,
Tell the listening audience who might not have seen it because they just can't get it because that shit is sold out. Tell them what Grit is all about.
All right, so like I said, it's a Southern Fried Sword and Sorcery story. It's a 3-issue mini about an aging monster hunter who's real good at hacking stuff up, and a young witch named Ari who is less enthusiastic about an old man hacking stuff up. And that's the long and short of it. The first issue introduces a villain in the form of the accidental spawn of a bumbling backwoods doomsday cult, and then it just gets worse from there.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Like, what are some of your inspirations for this book? Like, because everybody always says, like, it's like this meets this and that. So what are some of your this and meets that kind of vibe?
I think my like high concept pitching it was The Witcher by way of Southern Bastards.
Okay.
But it's got, I think, a little more of a sense of humor than either of those. I'm like a huge Mignola guy, so BPRD stuff, but also I think tonally it's similar to books like Rumble or Headlopper, just kind of that like wacky.
You had me at
fantasy.
Rumble.
Had
me at Rumble.
I mean,
I love Rumble.
That's what a fantastic book. I strive for that level of sort of like action, horror, fun, comedy stuff.
That sounds awesome.
All right.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kevin.
I was gonna say, so what was your gateway to comics? Like, how did you decide to make this a comic? I mean, you work in a library all day. Was it the fact that is that your area of expertise in the library? Like, I like the graphic novel section, or was it?
So I honestly, I'm one of those people who fell out of comics for a long time and then got back in some point in college and just started reading a whole lot more. And then another buddy of mine who I'm pretty sure y'all know, Dave Crispino, is the reason that I write comics.
Oh, fuck that dude.
I love that guy.
Dave's a close friend of mine. He lives literally like 2 blocks away. And Dave was writing comics and was basically like, fuck it, you could do this too. And I was like, ah, yeah, okay, I'll do it too. So that's why I read comics.
What Dave was really saying is like, hey, you can piss your money away too. And you're like, you know what? I can't piss my money away.
Hey, you're right.
This sounds great.
Oh, so you've met Dave?
He's like, you can do this and then buy magic cards. That's what.
No, he won't get me there.
He didn't get you on the magic card crack yet?
No.
He tried to get me when I was in Baltimore. I was in Baltimore for work, and he tried to get me. And I was like, I'm not buying your magic card crack. I already have I have enough Dungeons and Dragons crack. I'm good.
Yeah, I fell in and out of that rabbit hole like 10 years back, so I'm good not jumping back in.
The magic rabbit hole or the Dungeons and Dragons?
No, I'm still in the Dungeons and Dragons rabbit hole.
I mean, everyone should be.
Kevin's got the shirt. I'm like, look at me. You're just like a walking billboard for things. Like your bald hat, your fucking Dungeons and Dragons shirt.
Hey man, it's hard being an influencer, but
It's true. Now, was there like that? Now, was there like an inciting incident in your comic world that kind of pulled you back in, or did it just kind of from hanging out with Crispino? It was kind of like monkey see, monkey do kind of thing.
So, I mean, in terms of reading it, it's funny you said library stuff because that is what got me back into reading them. The fact that I had access to a lot of them and I didn't have to pay because, money is a thing. And libraries are great.
Yes.
So I read a ton of stuff and then I, got back into going to comic shops and, reading a ton of stuff all the time. And then I attempted writing prose stuff for a while and
Prose is hard.
prose is hard.
Prose is hard. Like there's
It's
too many
less fun too.
too many
It's less
words,
fun.
not enough pictures, man. Like what
Yeah.
the fuck are we doing here?
When I'm done,
I gotta come up with all these words.
yeah, and when I'm done with it, I just look at it and it's still words.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, I was just like, well, fuck it. I like comics. It's now attainable. Like I know someone who does this. It's attainable to create them. So I just sort of jumped in, and the first comic I did was a short thing called Big White, and
Was it about cocaine?
it was not. It was not about cocaine.
About your raging library cocaine habit?
Yeah, no,
I
it
mean,
wasn't
that's what they
that.
do in libraries.
That would be a really cool book, man. Like libraries that also deal cocaine and like they move them in and out of the books and stuff. You can, yeah, feel free to use that. That's yours.
You're soiling the good name of my government agency.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I love the library system. It is the best thing in the entire world. We moved here to Cincinnati from Virginia Beach. We didn't have any friends. My family just picked up and moved for my wife's job, and we spent so much time at the fucking library. Like it was a godsend. I can't speak highly enough of the library system in this country. The sad part is though, if someone were to propose that idea now, they would be called a communist and burned at the stake.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's weird to think about it as, I mean, it is at the end of the day a government agency, and it is by far the most punk rock of government agencies.
Oh yeah, totally. But I mean, you know how it is. I mean, especially some of the city libraries, like there are just homeless guys on the internet just hanging out.
Yeah, but
You know?
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not hurting anybody.
No, not at all.
No.
And I mean, I think there's some of them are like looking for jobs and all kinds of shit. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome. Like it's a really great resource. I love the library system. I think it's fucking brilliant.
Those are legitimately my favorite like success stories from work. It's like I taught a 50-year-old guy how to use Microsoft Word. That's awesome.
Yeah, totally.
This isn't comics fun, but libraries are cool too.
No,
I'm really glad you taught Bobby how to use Microsoft Word. That's awesome.
I use Google Docs, man. Fuck Microsoft Word. I ain't got no time for that. The fucking cursor keeps moving and I can't make it go back. Like it just all of a sudden the one moves to the middle of the page. I'm like, how did that happen? It just does it magically.
It just jumped.
I'm not at work right now, so I'm not going to get into this with you. But
But you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking
And
about.
I don't know why it happens like once a page, especially right when you're in the middle of writing dialogue. The one just goes, you know what, fuck you, man. I'm going way over here. And you're like, why did you do that? Come back, one. I need you.
I dare you to put 2 bulleted lists back to back.
It's like Russian roulette, man. Turns into the deer hunter in here.
It's impossible.
Yeah. So you read a bunch of stuff. What were you reading in the library? Like you said, you're kind of a Mike
Mignola
Mignola guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I at the time actually I just got caught up on superhero stuff. I'm trying to think of what was happening then. It was probably like a little before Civil War and Dark
Okay.
Reign, all that, and like Marvel, whenever that was.
Okay, that was like
that feels
2005 or something. That was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
God, was it? Oh.
Yeah, because that's when I got back in. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. So all that stuff was going on, and then it was kind of stuff that I like remembered but never dug into. So like that's when I went through like all of Hellboy and BPRD and all that. But that's when I like that was my gateway into like cooler indie stuff and away from like superhero books. And
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like being a kid of the 80s or you're the late 90s or whatever, like the idea that you can go to the library and just see all this stuff that's not superhero comics. It's really kind of liberating as a creator. You're like, holy shit, there are people that really want to read stuff like this.
Yeah, and it's like again, like as a librarian, it's really cool to do like readers advisory on comic books. It's like, oh well,
Yeah.
if you like Game of Thrones, here are 3 comics you might like too. And people are, we've reached this cultural zeitgeist of comics are cool again. So like it's easy to recommend things to people.
We've reached the comics are cool again zeitgeist?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Comics as floppies, absolutely not. But comics as graphic
no.
novels, fuck yeah, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I work when it's not the pandemic in an elementary school, and every kid in that school reads comics. They just don't know it.
Right,
Dogman. And
yes.
they're all about Dogman.
They're all
Yes.
Dogman or like some kid with a fucking dragon somehow. Like he got a dragon.
Or the Wimpy Kid books, or my son loves the Reign of Fire books or whatever it's called. One about the dragons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about a kid and a dragon.
No, there's no kid in it. There's just dragons.
There's
just
dragons. And then
Just
you have the
Wings of Fire. That's it.
Yep.
Wings of Fire.
You have the coming of age book where the two friends go to a new school and then they're not friends anymore. Like
that's every middle grade.
that's a
book ever.
hot book.
Yep.
I know because my daughter's read all of them. Like, what's this one about? This girl and this girl were friends. They go to a new school. They ain't friends no more.
Or graphic novels about like real things, like sports,
Yeah.
like Dragon Ball or whatever. I think it's called.
Also, if you just
Dragon
do
Hoops. That's what
if you do noun of, noun and noun, it will sell.
All right, give me an example. Go ahead. Let's try that again. Go ahead.
All right, let's see.
Noun.
Mugs
fuck.
of steel and black.
Noun of noun. What's the next?
It'd be and noun.
and noun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he said mugs of steel and black.
Mugs of steel and black. All right, you know what? That's not
Okay,
bad.
Bob, you got to do one now.
Wings of fire and wings of fire and darkness.
And chicken.
If
and
you Google that
chicken.
right now, I guarantee you it's a YA fantasy.
Let's see. What did I say? Wings
Of fire and darkness. He's
Wings of Fire and Darkness is it is a Wings of Fire book. Wings of Secrets. Darkness of Dragons.
Okay.
Not a thing. Wings of Fire. Ooh, hang on. This is Darkness of Dragons. Wings of Fire, book 10. Does that count? Wings of
it's
Fire.
close enough. It is a YA book.
Wings of Fire. Darkness of Dragons. I mean, that's got it all.
That sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yep.
It also sounds like a D&D game that somebody made up in your basement when you were like 12.
It also sounds like a fucking book that I bet sold 1 million copies, and that guy who wrote it sleeps on a pile of fucking money.
And here's the thing: is none of us are that guy.
No.
Yes.
Because we're dumb writing books about hillbillies who kill monsters and fucking shark people.
Yep.
Now, let me ask you this question. I imagine that once Grit comes out as a trade paperback, I'll be able to pick it up in my Baltimore library. Yes, yes.
Hopefully.
You don't make those calls?
I don't make those calls,
Well,
so we'll
that's
see what
bullshit.
happens.
I guess you see what your coworkers feel about it.
I manage the people and not the books.
That's like we telling him that you should put Metal Shark Bro in the Baltimore library.
I was getting there.
Gonna-
I was
Oh,
getting
okay.
there.
It was
You
a
know,
good pitch. It was a
I
good
wouldn't
pitch.
be surprised with the Simon and Schuster deal if that happens at some point.
Listen to you. You're on top of shit.
I don't know about for Metal Shark, bro. I mean, what cultured, normal, civilized people want to read that?
You should go look at what comics are in your library.
That's a really great point, though, because I mean, the amount of just like wacky, kind of off the wall shit that you can find at your local library is pretty impressive. Like the selection at some libraries are better than at some comic shops I've seen. Like that's how I first read Black Sad, or however you pronounce it, because I saw
Black Sad?
Black Sad, because I saw it at my local library and I was like, this looks fucking awesome.
It is awesome.
And I read it and it was, and like you know,
I mean, to be fair, you're right, because our library here has Alan Moore's Necronomicon book in there, and there's 6.
That is exactly what I was thinking when you said that. I remember a guy returning Neonomicon, and I was like, "Ooh,
this is." I mean, I was like, "Okay, it's Alan Moore," so I started looking through it, and like, it's weird orgies with fish people in the book, and like, there's like dicks and everything, and I'm like, "This is crazy." It's like it's practically porn. It's really weird.
But is it good though?
I don't know, because I was like looking at fish dicks. Like, what do you think else I'm going to do? I mean, that's what I did. I was like, this is weird, because it's like a fish man who's like having sex with everyone, not just anyone. Everyone in this cult wants to have sex with. Basically, the end of the book is everyone in this cult that is summoning these fish guys wants to have sex with the fish man or get killed by him. So it's really weird.
So do you think this is just Alan Moore's life, and he's like, I'm going to make me a fish man?
I don't know. I'm
going to have sex with everybody or kill everyone. I'm Alan Moore. Welcome to my world.
The Fishman doesn't even speak in the book. It's so weird. It's like it's part of that whole Cthulian.
Is the Fishman wearing 37 rings on his fingers?
No.
All right, then it's not Alan Moore. So you said you're a big Mignola fan. You like Alan Moore, obviously. What are some other influences here, Mr. Brian Wickman, writer of the smash hit comic book Grit?
Let's see. Who do I? So I've been working my way. It's funny. Like the last couple of podcasts I've been on, this is the same answer because it's so goddamn long. But I started Black Science from the beginning.
Oh, nice.
And I've been working my way back through that. I'm a pretty big Remender guy. I think he's just such a solid craftsman of stories. Like he goes in places I would never expect and pulls it off better than I think other people could. Like Black Science is a book that starts one way and just goes like 1,000 different directions into this weird sci-fi family drama. And it's like Fantastic Four
with a drinking problem.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it. So let's see, what else I've been kind of just like going back through my log. I've been reading a lot of old Elric stuff too, just because I've like been on this high fantasy kick.
That's cool. Well, it makes sense because it's kind of the world you're living in right now, you know?
Yeah. What else? I just did Little Bird, which was incredible. That was really good.
Yes, that came out like in hardcover from Image.
Such a fucking hardcover nerd, Kevin. Tell me about this little. Well, actually, you know what? Don't tell me about Little Bird because you didn't write it, so who gives a shit?
No, but go read it. Go read Little Bird. It's really good.
Okay. So yeah, dude. So you're just kind of crushing shit right now. How did you I don't know. I don't have the team in front of me who did the book, but how did you?
Who was your artist?
Yeah. How did you hook up with all that stuff?
So let's see. Kevin Castanero is doing art for the series. He is a delight. I found him because, and this will date how long Kevin and I have been working together. He did some Fafford and Gray Mouser fan art on DeviantArt. And I was like,
you just said some stuff that half the people listening going, what the fuck is all of that? Like
Fafford and Gray Mouser is like Conan, but cooler.
Okay.
In my opinion, that will maybe get me stabbed at some point, but
it's like the Power Man and Iron Fist of fantasy comics.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
What is this deviant art you speak of?
Everyone listening to this is old enough to know what deviant is.
Most likely, yes.
Do you go there nowadays? Like, do you ever kind of venture back into those waters?
He said no.
No, it's a hard no.
There's some weird shit on deviant art.
I'm sure there is. There was weird shit then.
Yeah.
So
it's gotten more deviant.
No, it's just like I mean, you can find some cool shit on there every now. I will admit, like if you're playing D&D and you're looking for maps, there's a lot of cool maps options. If you're looking for chicks in weird
Chainmail.
yeah, it's really kind of like softcore porny kind of. It's really odd.
Yeah.
It's really odd. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I don't know what happened. But DeviantArt used to be the jam. Now, like, where do you go to meet artists now? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I come to think of it, I think that's maybe how I found Vlad Ligostia that I did Big White with as well.
Which is not about cocaine.
It's not about, still not
What's
about
Big White about? Since you wrote that?
Big White is about a tow truck driver at the end of the world in a sort of nuclear winter scenario.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's just like a little. I tend to like lean into slice of life sort of contained stories. So it's just like one afternoon, one really shitty afternoon in his life.
That's cool. Now, if I wanted to read that, where can I pick that up?
That is free up on my website. It's just brianwickman.com.
Nice.
That got me last year. I entered that for the Platform Comics Short Comic Award, and I got runner up for that. Yeah, which I think they just opened up submissions for the new one, so they seem like good folks. So
that's awesome. Well, they seem like good folks because you were runner up.
That's why.
Like if you didn't place, then you'd be like, man, fuck those dudes. I know you, Brian. I know you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I met Kevin through DeviantArt. As embarrassing as that is, but
whatever, man. We all got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that was cool in 2014 or whatever. Yeah. So we just shot some ideas back and forth. I was super new to comics, so was Kevin at that point. I don't know that he had done any sequential stuff then, or maybe one thing at some point, something small. But this was the first like longer form book you worked on for sure.
Now tell us some of the challenges of that. I mean, if you're working with an artist that doesn't really do a lot of sequentials and you're new to comics too, did you have like someone you would show your pages to make sure your story's being told concisely and things of that nature? Or how did that work?
We 100% were winging it.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yep. I mean, I think we were both like big time readers, so we at least had like the vocabulary of like, well, this is how comics work. And I read a couple of things that I think it's better to learn by doing, but what's the Bendis book, Words for Pictures, I think.
That's a good one.
Like thinking about just structure, mostly like page to page and not so much, long form story structure. But that was a good starting point. And then just by scripting and re-scripting as we like worked through ideas, I think we hammered it out. And then we originally planned it as a one shot because we didn't know each other and thought we might hate each other after we did a book together. But then it was cool and we had a good time. So that's when we wrote it out a little more and tweaked the ending and started pitching it around.
That's awesome. And you landed at Scout. Now
we did.
This is the next question that everybody loves in comics. What you working on next?
Good question.
This is my one idea. I got the cocaine thing and this, and then I'm out. I got nothing left.
Just the cocaine tow truck driver in this one. Well, fuck.
Then it really is. Then it really is the Riders of Rohan, the Alabama.
There you go.
That's what I'm doing next.
So Grit Volume 2 is coming up. It's the first one shot is called The Ballad of the Bloom Knight, and it is about, again, like it's a branch off the main story, and it stars Sir Andre Lapointe, who is this jolly undead drunk knight who sort of wanders about, just getting into revelry and chivalrous adventures. But people are terrified of him because his skin is sloshing off.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
And whatnot. But yeah, so we introduced him in that short that we hosted at Multiversity, and I'm doing that with artist Simon Kirks, who did that short, and he and I are cooking up some other pitches as well, but that's next. And then there's another one shot after that with Dylan Snook is taking over art, and that's so Kevin and I can get caught up and do the next proper Grit release.
That's
afterward.
Awesome. Nice. I saw on the social media, where can we follow you on at social media?
I am at BM Wickman, just about everywhere.
Okay, because I saw on social media the other day that you're thinking about dipping your toe into the Kickstarter world. Yes.
This is true. So what the plan is, and I'll be talking about this soon. So here's your exclusive.
Holy
Oh,
shit!
I like that we got
Hang on,
exclusive voice.
let me get the music for it. Hang on. There's no music.
I wish you were at home or something.
The death metal voice exclusive.
Yeah. Exclusive. There we go. Thanks, Kevin. That was appropriate.
Yeah, no problem.
So anyway, I think the plan is we're gonna kickstart like an oversized edition. That's those 2 one-shots, just in a big 44-page book, and we've got a bunch of cool stuff. I've posted. We actually are doing a run of pewter D&D minis of Barrow from Grit.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so we've got some like cool, weird rewards. There's been a lot of crossover in the readership with people who are like tabletop people. So, I like wrote stats for all the creatures in Grit and everything. And we've got like postcards with new art of the monsters.
That's
and stuff.
awesome.
So yeah, we're just gonna get volume 2 off the ground that way.
That sounds really cool, man.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea too, because I think there's a lot of crossover between comics readers and D&D players.
for sure. Yeah.
And then you can do some bullshit Grit source book for Kickstarter and make like $1 million.
I can only hope.
You know? Then you can tell those losers at the library to suck eggs.
No, he's not going to do that. How else would he get his cocaine into the country?
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what, Kevin? That's a really good point.
With my post-apocalyptic tow truck.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, man, it sounds like you've got a lot of shit going on, dude. We're super happy for you. That's awesome.
Thanks. I'm excited and stressed out and having a good time.
Yeah, but it's 2020 though. Everybody's got to be stressed out at this point.
So true.
Like I told myself last night, my wife and I were laying in bed. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch the debate. I'm just not gonna. And then I turned it on for 30 seconds and I was like, fuck everything. Like this is the worst day of my whole life. But I did get to see Biden tell Trump to shut up. So that was kind of fun.
Amazing. Yes, that was awesome.
Though my wife said, you know what? I don't think that was very presidential of him. She said, and I was like, yeah, but you're kind of fighting for your life here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
my wife is sad because of the Trumpism is kind of how society has kind of devolved into like a comment section on a news article on a website.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that makes her sad. You know what I'm saying? Which.
Yeah, I mean, understandably. I saw someone appropriately described even like the press leading up to the debate looks more like a wrestling match than a debate.
Yeah.
Like they've changed the way that they like advertise, for lack of a better word, political events.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
It's like they're cutting wrestling promos in the 80s, yes.
Yeah.
Except Trump lacks the flair and charisma that the American Dream Dusty Rhodes has.
I mean...
And he's definitely not the son of a plumber.
No.
Now, you brought up wrestling. Are you a wrestling fan, or...?
Not really. I come and go. I watch stuff here and then just because I know so many people who do, and I don't like to be completely lost in conversation.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool, man. So Brian, you got this book out. Issues 1 and 2, you can pick them up on the Scout website. Issue 3 as well. When is this thing going to hit trades, brother?
Sounds like February.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations.
So I guess
awesome.
soliciting soon then. Yeah.
Yes, it would be
Ask
soon.
Charlie. Charlie will tell you.
Charlie would tell me.
Yeah, I asked him to make a list because I was like, dude, when the fuck are these books coming out? Because I have no idea. And he's like, well, it's right here. I was like, nah, man. Just give me a fucking list. So that's why that email went out on the Scout page. If you don't know when your book is coming out, here's a list.
I feel like I apologize to Charlie before every question I ask.
But I'll tell you what, though, man, Charlie's a good dude.
He is a good dude.
He's great.
I really enjoy my experience at Scout Comics. It's been nothing but joy for us. So
Yeah, agree.
I'm glad to hear you're having a similar experience.
Yeah.
It's good that we're not the only ones that are having a good time.
Right.
It also helps that we've got fucking smash hit books, baby.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, Metal Shark Bow, the trade went back for another printing or something.
The book sucks, from what I hear. I've never read it. I've heard it's garbage.
I feel like I was gonna like flash it, but I think I just put it back on my shelf because I just
that book
did the
sucks.
Kickstarter for the second one.
Did you back the Kickstarter for the second one?
Yeah.
Well, thank
Then
you, Brian.
you probably got it in the mail.
course.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
It went.
Yeah, I've got this like stack. It's literally all the things I taught. Like I've got Hellboy sitting next to me,
Nice.
and then Little Bird's under it.
Who's your favorite Hellboy character?
Hellboy is my favorite Hellboy character.
Hellboy's your favorite?
Yeah, man, I just love heroes who hate their job.
Kraus. Kraus is my
It's
favorite.
very relatable.
That's my favorite character from Hellboy, Kraus. Well, actually, it was Roger for a while, and then
Yeah.
you know, unfortunately for Roger, he was no longer around. So I had to pick another favorite. So
There's no bad answer.
No,
not really.
They're all good. Well, that's awesome,
really.
dude. Well,
So, I have one more question for Brian.
go ahead.
Since he's in a D&D, when are you running a virtual game for Bob and I? Like that's the next question. When are you running a D&D?
Are you a
game?
DM or are you strictly a player?
I've done both.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you
like?
What do you prefer?
I like to DM a lot.
Oh, we just made a new best friend. Bob.
Yeah.
I enjoy DMing too. Kevin, I don't have time to play any more games, man. Like, I
on
just
now.
don't. I just don't have it. I mean, I play
Come on now.
every other Friday. I play a D&D game on a Friday, a Spirit of 77 game on another Friday, and then Star Wars and Starfinder on every other Saturdays. I ain't got time for that shit.
Damn, you're juggling a whole lot.
Well, I don't do anything. I'm
Okay.
43 years old. I'm married. I have 2 kids. My wife falls asleep at 10 o'clock at night. I got nothing going on.
Yeah.
You know.
What
So
I've got this. Hey, let's dive in. I've got this weird ass. Dave always gets on me about this. You ever heard of Symbaroum?
No.
Oh, what is that?
I think I've seen Dave talking about that online.
Yeah,
What is
it's
it?
this like it's a Swedish translated RPG where magic slowly kills you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds great.
That's cool
right.
as shit.
I know what we're running now.
Dude,
All
this
right.
is my jam right here. This is my game.
Oh yeah, you got to see this one.
Spirit of 77.
Nice. I have
This
not heard
is-
of this.
This is it's from a studio called Monkey Fun Studios. We actually had the guy who wrote the book
He was on the
Word
show.
Bros.
Yeah.
Cool.
They did it on Kickstarter, and it's basically like an exploitation D&D game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's super simple, like D6, and that's it. Like, it's just real fun. I love it. Like, you can play like a pimp or a drug dealer or like a gang member or like a sleuth or like a honeypot. It's real fun. It's real
Or like a
fun.
tow truck driver who deals cocaine.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that could be
That
your
would be
character.
your guy.
Yeah.
That would be your
There
guy
you
right
go.
there.
Yeah. Tell me more about this Swedish magic killing you thing.
Yeah, it's the whole shtick is like it's I don't know how you would describe post apocalyptic. So they're like rebuilding the world after fantasy cataclysm, and magic is like poison to your soul.
That's
and
awesome.
at a certain point, there's like these randomly generated numbers every time you attempt magic, and it corrupts you to a point where the DM can take over your character for a while.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it gets wild.
That's what system is it? Like, is it just a D20 or what?
It's D20, but it's roll under instead of over.
Okay, that's like
Okay.
the Star Trek game that I play every now and then. That's like that. That's cool. And it's kind of got like a Numenera vibe. You ever played that? You ever heard of
I
that one?
haven't. I've looked into it a little bit.
It's kind of neat. Like, it's fun, but it is like the ninth world. So like, there's been 9 societies that have fallen. This is the 9th one. So like, you can kind of delve into each society through like archaeology and like shit
cool.
like that. So it's kind of neat. But yeah, but whatevs. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It
So
sounds
how often do you play the role playing games?
Not as much lately because someone in my big group just had a baby. So we're taking a little hiatus. But I ran a game for like 2.5 years just before that.
Oh, that's cool.
I like homebrewed most of it. And that was a lot of fun and also a lot of work. And I was so like,
What were you playing? 5e?
yeah, it was 5e.
That's cool.
Yeah, because we were trying to do that with Dave and Tony Grigori and who else was in that group that we were trying to do with it was those two guys.
Was
us.
Dewick in it too?
Yeah, Dewick was in it. Yeah, it was the 3 of us, Dewick, Rich Dewick, and
Just nothing.
Tony,
It's
and there
most
was one more guy.
yeah, and then like most D&D games, we made characters and never played.
Yes,
Perfect.
we did.
Like, and for most people, that's the role playing experience.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn this game. I'm gonna make a character, and nothing will ever happen. And then welcome to the world of tabletop role playing.
Well, David was supposed to run, and he had stuff happen.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. It's nothing against David, but it is
No,
the
I didn't think you were.
experience
I didn't
of yeah. So,
Yeah,
but anywho.
that is the experience of trying to play a game.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
you make 3 sessions. It's either your game's never going to happen,
Or
or
you
you're going to play,
start-
or you're going to, or you start.
Yeah.
You play 3 games, or you're going to play for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, you played like 2 games. You don't even get
Yeah.
to the third one. You
Yeah.
you get to the idea of the third one, and the DM like
It's
never
like
shows
comics
back
where
up.
someone, I'll get the first one and then they never read the second issue and then that's the end of it.
Yeah, we also know all about that, huh?
There's a lot of parallels here, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on. Tell us again where we can find you on the social media.
Yeah, I am at BM Wickman just about everywhere. My website is just brianwickman.com. I got a bunch of comic stuff up there.
There you go. Brian
There it
Wickman,
is.
thank you so much.
Thank you.